The night was cruel, the kind of cold that didn't just bite but stayed. Marcus Vale rode alone down the empty highway, his headlight cutting a narrow tunnel through the darkness. The engine beneath him felt like the only living thing for miles. He liked it that way. Silence gave memories room to breathe, and Marcus carried too many of them. Faces of brothers lost, a wife lowered into the ground under gray skies, promises made and kept, and some that still haunted him. He slowed near an underpass when something caught his eye. A small fire burning in a rusted barrel. Two figures huddled close. Marcus pulled over, more out of instinct than curiosity. Years on the road taught him when something mattered. As he got closer, he saw a teenage boy, thin as a shadow, wrapping a worn coat around an older woman. The boy's hands were red and shaking. He was freezing, but he pulled the coat tighter around her anyway. The woman's eyes were hollow with grief. Marcus recognized the look immediately. Widow's eyes. On her bag was a faded Hell's Angels patch. Old, sun-bleached, respectable. She whispered something to the boy, probably telling him to keep the coat. He shook his head, gave a small smile, stepped back into the cold with nothing but a hoodie torn at the seams. Marcus felt something crack in his chest. That boy didn't know her story. Didn't know her husband died on the road, like so many others. Didn't know the rules. He just did what was right. Marcus thought about how many men he knew who talked about honor, but wouldn't have done the same. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Marcus stepped forward. The woman flinched until she saw the patch on his back. Iron Serpents. President. Her lips trembled as she said her husband's road name. Marcus nodded once. That was all it took. The boy looked nervous now, like he was about to be in trouble. Marcus put a hand on his shoulder, firm but gentle. Told him he did the right thing. Told him it mattered. That's when Marcus learned the truth. The woman, Claire, had been pushed out of her apartment. A cop named Rourke had come knocking, saying her husband owed money from years ago. It was a lie, a shakedown. When she refused, things got ugly. The boy, Tyler, was a runaway who'd been sleeping under the bridge. He protected her when no one else did. Rourke's men were already looking for them. Marcus didn't hesitate. He pulled out his phone and started making calls. Short calls, quiet calls, the kind that didn't need explaining. By the time he mounted his bike again, engines were waking up across counties and state lines. Marcus rode hard through the night, jaw tight, eyes burning. This wasn't about revenge. This was about a promise he never stopped believing in. By morning, the Iron Serpents clubhouse was alive. Bikes lined the lot like soldiers ready for war. Men moved with purpose, not panic. Grinder leaned against his bike, arms crossed, eyes cold and alert. He was the enforcer, built like a tank, loyal to Marcus without question. Eli sat on the steps, already mapping scenarios in his head. Strategy was his weapon. Doc unpacked medical supplies, calm as ever. Huck climbed to the roof, scanning the tree line. Everyone had a role. Everyone knew why they were here. Marcus stood inside the clubhouse, hands resting on the table scarred by decades of decisions. He told them about Claire, about Tyler, about Rourke. No drama, just truth. The room stayed quiet until Grinder spoke. He said Rourke had crossed the wrong line. Eli warned them it wouldn't be simple. Rourke had badges protecting him, friends in dark places. Doc asked about the kid. Hawk reported unfamiliar cars circling town. Marcus listened to every voice. Then he spoke. They wouldn't rush. They protect first, expose second, strike only when it mattered. This wasn't a bar fight. This was war done clean. They moved Claire and Tyler to a safe house owned by an old club ally. Tyler didn't trust easily, but when Marcus handed him a hot meal and dry clothes, something in the boy's eyes softened. He wasn't used to kindness without conditions. Claire cried quietly when she saw the brothers standing guard outside. She hadn't felt safe in months. The threat grew closer. Rourke sent warnings. Cars parked too long. Phones rang and hung up. Pressure tactics. Hawk spotted plainclothes cops watching the safe house. Eli confirmed Rourke was digging for leverage. Marcus knew time was running out. You could feel in the air, like thunder before a storm. That night, the brothers sat around the table again. No jokes, no laughter, just resolve. Marcus looked at their faces, each one tied to a memory, a sacrifice. He knew some of them wouldn't walk away unchanged. Maybe not at all, but backing down was never an option. Not after that coat. Rourke struck at dawn. He didn't go for Marcus. He went for Tyler. That's how predators worked. Tyler was grabbed outside a convenience store, dragged into an unmarked car. Hawk saw it happen, but was seconds too late. His radio crackled with panic. Marcus felt his heart drop. Rage followed fast. They tracked the car to an abandoned warehouse near the river. The place smelled like rot and old oil. Marcus ordered patience. Grinder wanted blood. Eli reminded him they needed proof. Doc prepped supplies in silence. They moved in tight formation, every step measured. Inside, Tyler was tied to a chair, bruised but conscious. Rourke stood in front of him, smiling like a man who enjoyed fear. When Marcus walked in alone, Rourke laughed, talked about power, about how clubs were dying, about how kindness made men weak. Marcus recorded every word, his face unreadable. The shooting started without warning. Rourke's men panicked. Hawk went down, hit in the shoulder but still fighting. Grinder broke through like a storm. Doc dragged Tyler out under fire. Sirens wailed in the distance. Rourke tried to run. Marcus blocked him, looked him in the eyes, told him it was over. Rourke fled anyway. Cowards always did. The fallout was heavy. Rourke was arrested when Eli leaked the recording. Charges stacked fast. Corruption, assault, kidnapping. The badge couldn't save him this time. The courtroom was packed. Marcus sat straight, calm. Claire held Tyler's hand. Hawk wore a sling. Grinder stood behind Marcus like a wall. Justice came, but not clean. Marcus took charges too. He accepted them without protest. Some lines you cross knowingly. Prison gates closed behind him weeks later as engines roared outside in salute. Tyler was placed with a foster family connected to the club. Claire got her home back. The Iron Serpents stayed vigilant. Years later, people still talked about the night 511 bikers rode through the dark. But Marcus knew the truth. It all started with a kid who had nothing and still chose to give.